What's up NBA fans, Dom2K on the mic, and today I'm doing a video on the player people love to hate because he's just that damn good, Kobe Bryant. Now let's get straight into the facts. Kobe Bean Bryant is easily one of the greatest players of all time, period. Just like with LeBron, it doesn't matter if you like him, dislike him, or you just don't care at all. He's a top dog. I always say with LeBron and Kobe specifically, we'll never know where they're truly ranked in history because of how polarizing they were. What I mean by that is, both players said and did things in their careers that made many people feel some type of way, and for that reason, from one fan you might hear they're both top 5, and from another you might hear they're not even top 10. Whatever you think about Kobe's career, the one thing you can't question is his dedication to the game of basketball. While there are some athletes out there that just depend on their natural attributes to excel, Kobe spent hours upon hours perfecting his craft, and there's plenty of testimony out there that validates this. I mean, of course, besides what he showed us on the court. My personal favorite is the Team USA story about the time he woke up at like 4 AM to start his workout and was just finishing it as the rest of the team came down for breakfast. Those type of stories explain the logic behind some of the craziness I'm about to show you. Well, it kind of explains it. Some of it's just really that Kobe's not a human being. Anyways, I could go on forever about Kobe's career, but today I wanted to show you 10 of Kobe Bryant's greatest playoff moments. As with my greatest comeback video, these might not be his 10 best, they're just 10 I wanted to spotlight because I think there's something interesting behind all of them. So as Birdman would say it,
I ain't got no more talking.
Let's dive straight into the list. Number 10, the Mamba face. Whenever the Mamba face comes out, you're pretty much doomed. It's a sign that Kobe has officially left Earth or just ascended higher than he was already to begin with. And that's why when he brought it out in 2009, we all knew it was over for Denver. The Lakers were deadlocked in a Western Conference final battle with the Nuggets, and after a gut-wrenching loss in Game 1, the Nuggets fought back and escaped with a 2-point win on LA's home floor to tie the series. This is back when Carmelo really had a decent squad featuring Chauncey Billups, J.R. Smith, Kenyon Martin, and Nene. So they weren't to be taken lightly, and the Lakers were figuring this out in Game 3, where the Nuggets managed to maintain the lead all the way from the 6-minute mark in the first quarter. It began to look as if Denver had the situation under control, because despite Kobe's 28 points by the end of the third quarter, the Nuggets had increased their lead to 8 with a J.R. Smith heave at the end of the quarter. Of course, Smith compounded that by rising to his feet and talking all kind of trash with the crowd hyping him, and that's when Kobe decided he'd seen enough. Faced with the prospect of going down 2-1 in the Western Conference Finals with another Nuggets home game still to go, Kobe showed up when his team needed him the most. He scored 13 fourth quarter points, but it wasn't so much just the points he scored because a lot of those were free throws. It was the type of shots he hit and when he hit them. He basically put J.R. Smith in the torture chamber, showing him that there's never a right time to celebrating when he's still on the floor. This shot in particular to give LA the lead is what makes this one of Kobe's greatest playoff moments.
Shot clock at 6. Bryant for 3. Puts it in! Kobe Bryant from downtown! And the Lakers regain the lead. Look at the determination on his face.
Bryant immediately pulled out his patented Mamba face as J.R. Smith became yet another victim on a long list of Kobe Bryant's knack for hitting impossible shots. How do you hit an off-the-dribble 3 with the clock winding down with the defender all in your airspace? Bryant would go on to finish this masterpiece with 41 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists on 50% field goal shooting. His team needed every bit of it as they just barely broke the series tie. His other totals in this series were 40, 32, 34, and 35. He only scored under 30 points one time in this series, making it easily one of his best. As stated before, the Nuggets had another home game to go after this one, and they went on to win that game, so there's no telling what would have happened to the Lakers that year if Kobe hadn't have shown up with his heroics in Game 3 like he did. But this is just an appetizer. Number 9, Flight in Phoenix. Whatever chatter you've heard in the past 2 years about Curry not deserving MVP over LeBron or Westbrook, I promise you it was worse in 2006 with Nash and Kobe. These days you hear that Curry isn't the true MVP and that he just plays on a better team than LeBron. I don't agree, by the way, I'm just throwing this info out there, but when LeBron blocked Steph multiple times in the finals, that's comparable to what I'm about to show you, because in 06, people were screaming highway robbery about Nash and Bryant. First off, this was Nash's second MVP in a row, as he'd won it the year before over Shaq, which Shaq also agreed was robbery. In 2006, Kobe was averaging 35.4 points with 5 rebounds and 4 assists, compared to Nash's 18.8 points and 10.5 assists. Of course, the difference in the MVP was that Nash's team was contending while Kobe's was a 7th seed. This brings much debate to what an MVP actually is, as many people throughout the 2015 season could have sworn that Westbrook was going to win it over Curry for his godlike stats even though they missed the playoffs. What's not a debate, however, is the ferociousness of this play. The two met in the 06 playoffs, and the Lakers were leading late in Game 2, and with a win on the way, this is where Kobe would make his statement.
Kobe elevating. And the foul. Well, how serious was that?
You can tell Nash was trying to take a charge here, but instead, it wound up being a three-point play for Kobe, as that dunk was an obnoxious statement about whose MVP award that was. This dunk was on the way to Kobe leading the lowly Lakers to a 3-1 lead over the powerhouse Suns, and although the Lakers would go on to lose the series, this is definitely one of Kobe's more iconic plays in the playoffs and in his career. Look at any Kobe highlight tape, I bet you'll find this there.
And Steve Nash called for the blocking foul.
Number 8. Kobe doesn't believe in magic. The 2009 finals were a bit of an awkward situation for the NBA to deal with. After Kevin Garnett went down with a knee injury, everyone was gearing up for a much anticipated Kobe and LeBron finals. I even remember the NBA running some puppet commercial themed around the two meeting. However, the young and upcoming Magic were able to take advantage of Kevin Garnett's absence, beating Boston in 7. They then went on to own the Cavaliers as there was no answer for Dwight Howard down low. And so, we all ended up settling for one of the more forgettable matchups in an NBA Finals series featuring Orlando and LA. I mean, their colors looked nice on the court together, but they clearly weren't ready to deal with a Kobe Bryant that was fueled with such rage from the year before. What I'm talking about is when LA made the finals, only to be destroyed by the Celtics in a Game 6 massacre. What made that worse is that the Lakers bus had to go back to the hotel without an escort. With all the partying in the streets going on for Boston's first championship in so many years, fans began shaking and throwing objects at the bus, taunting the Lakers at their lowest point. This would fuel them for the following season, as Bryant was going to let nothing stop him from getting his 4th ring. The Lakers swept Boston in the season series that year, and although it would have been fun to see a rematch directly after what happened in 2008, Kobe would have to settle for beating up on the Magic, and he did that right out of the gate. In Game 1, Kobe would go on to score 40 points, grab 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. He meticulously just took the Magic apart that night with his skill set, as I'm pretty sure Mikal Pietrus would have rather been anywhere other than guarding Kobe for that 48 minutes. To his credit though, he did what he could to disrupt Bryant, but if you were a fan in 09, you know there was just no such thing as stopping Kobe when he was this determined. This performance set the stage for the rest of the series, as he made it clear if they lost again, it was not going to happen while he was on the floor. Bryant would go on to complete Game 1 and then average 32 points, nearly 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, as he would hit a ton of incredible shots in the process that really just spoke to the amount of preparation he put into his game. Basically, it came down to this: if you weren't going to flat out block Kobe's shot in this series, then it wasn't up to you whether it went in or not. Game 1 of this series was one of Kobe's most complete games of his career and just spoke to how prepared he was to take on this moment, and definitely qualifies for one of his greatest playoff moments. Number 7, Kobe literally spanks the Suns. Bryant shared somewhat of a rivalry with the Suns. He faced them in the playoffs multiple times, and the fans really felt some type of way about him. Check out this clip of them kicking him while he was down, losing a 3-1 lead to the Suns in Game 7.
Here's Kwame Brown at the free throw line.
Now, if you know anything about Kobe, you know taunting him does nothing to help you in the long run, and 4 years later when these teams met in the playoffs again, Bryant came back more mature and with some help, as he made sure to take the soul of every Phoenix fan present for the series. Not only would Bryant go on to have probably the best series of his career, averaging nearly 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists, he made sure to kick them while they were down, just as they thought they might have a chance to take Los Angeles to Game 7. Kobe was eating in this game as usual, but then he just decided he was going to create one of the cooler moments in NBA history, when Bryant again left Earth to hit this totally inhumane shot in the face of Grant Hill.
Bryant, yes! And then with a little tap to Alvin Gentry.
Yes, inhumane was the perfect word to describe this shot. Grant Hill even managed to avoid falling for the pump fake and had a perfect contest. Hell, this shot seems like it even managed to convert the Suns fan, as it added the finishing touches on a 37-point night for Kobe in an elimination game. He added insult to injury by taunting Alvin Gentry, who could do nothing but laugh at how ridiculous this guy was. This shot pushed the lead to 7 points with 30 seconds remaining and sent the Lakers to their 3rd straight NBA Finals. So although the Suns fans were reaping the benefits of Kobe's failure in 06, it was Bryant who'd have the last laugh. Number 6. Doing the impossible. Although this moment is probably considered Kobe's best playoff moment, seeing how it's been plastered on every Kobe related video in the last 10 years, I'm listing it at 6 because I think there are a few that were more significant since they actually lost this series. Anyway, before Kobe was spanking the Suns, he had to go through some dark times in that rivalry. In 06, the Lakers led the series 2-1, and I think everyone can learn something here because all anyone seems to remember about this series is that Kobe hit a huge shot and then lost a 3-1 lead. Kobe had actually made an adjustment to his game for the series, and that's why they were being so successful to start. Bryant was averaging 35 in the regular season, but his scoring average had fallen to 27 to this point in the series, and he hadn't even had a 30-point game yet. His explanation was that in the regular season, they didn't have their chemistry all the way down yet, so he needed to shoulder the scoring load. But in the playoffs, he felt everyone was having fun, as there was even a point where Staples Center was chanting Kwame Brown's name. His unselfishness was a big talking point, and that led us to another thing. During this game, Smush Parker of all people actually had hit the clutch 3 to keep LA in the game, which absolutely nobody remembers, and he stole the ball from Nash, allowing Kobe to tie the game with a tough floater. But the moment we all remember, of course, his game winner over 2 Suns players.
Walton can tip it. Bryant with the save.
Oh, you gotta get a shot here.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Bang!
I have to show you guys something. I've never been able to help noticing what a killer mentality Bryant had to have to take this shot. 2 people contested this jumper. There's Devin George right behind him for an open 3. There's Lamar Odom right behind him for an open 3. If Kobe misses that shot, he gets called a ball hog, but it really just attests to how much of a killer he was. LA was always either going to live or die by his shot. He could live with whatever happened afterwards. This shot lives on as one of Kobe's most iconic moments ever, not just in the playoffs. Imagine if he makes this shot and they beat the second seeded Suns, it'd just be that more amazing. Number 5, Mama, there goes that man. 2001 featured the most incredible playoff run by any team ever. The Lakers finished with a 15-1 record and just totally devastated the opposition. A big part of this was that they had 2 of the best players ever playing as freely as possible, and there's almost no better example of that than Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against the Spurs. Kobe Bryant walked into San Antonio and immediately crushed any hopes they might have had winning that series. He put on one of the most beautiful displays of athleticism and offense ever, as he scored 45 points and grabbed 10 rebounds. It almost looked as if he'd taken a personal challenge to expose the Spurs' Twin Towers. Even with David Robinson and Duncan down low, Bryant wasn't intimidated in the least. He dunked on or near both of them at least 3 times as he was on a mission. Anyone could have seen this coming though, as the Spurs defense couldn't hold Kobe all season anyways. In 3 games, Bryant had averaged about 38 points on 50% shooting, so he was basically just taking another stroller through the park this game. This would again set the tone for the series, as the Lakers would sweep the Spurs, winning by an average of 22 points. Anyone that doesn't understand what type of beast Kobe was when he had his afro should watch the tape of this game. Before his jumping ability went away, he was even more out of control than he was as he aged, but there is another tape you can watch to see this. Number 4, Mama, that man is still here. Alright, so that title might not make total sense because this performance happened shortly before the one in San Antonio, but just roll with it. We've already established how out of control Kobe was in these days, but he let the Sacramento Kings have a little bit more of it. Now, when we bring up the Kings and Lakers, the first thing to come to everyone's mind is the scandal in 2002. But right before that, the Lakers were making the Kings look more like peasants. LA swept them in the second round, and en route to that, Bryant made sure not to take it easy in Game 4 just because they were up 3-0. Bryant had what is possibly the best game of his career, scoring 48 points and grabbing 16 rebounds. Not only did he tally these remarkable numbers, he played defense too. Let me put this in terms you'll understand. You know when you have your My Player in 2K and you buy VC to max him out because 2K doesn't actually give you a reasonable way to make a lot of it? Yeah, that was Kobe this game, when your My Player is just standing out from everyone because he's just that much better. Somehow though, this game ended up close even with all Bryant was doing. Up by 2 with a little time remaining, the Kings thought they were going to double team him. Keyword there is thought. He spun right out of it and put in a beautiful bank shot. This would complete the sweep of the Kings, and it's games like this that make you think, what is everyone talking about when they say Kobe was carried by Shaq for 3 rings? Speaking of that, number 3, who did Shaq carry? Now, I'm all for seeing both sides of an argument on this channel because I pride myself in being unbiased. That's why I don't understand when people come with the whole Kobe was carried by Shaq argument, because it's not even close to being based out of any type of facts. To be honest, that topic is probably its own video, but this moment in Bryant's playoff career can be used to refute it. Yes, it's true Kobe did only average 15 points in his first finals at the age of 21. Meanwhile, you could have substituted the Hawk for Shaq on the court and nobody would have noticed the difference. However, something that gets lost in this debate is that Kobe suffered a pretty terrible ankle injury in the Game 2 of that series, so bad in fact he couldn't even play in Game 3. You know if Kobe Bryant ever sits out a game, it's bad. Better yet, if you play basketball and you sprained your ankle, then you can imagine the composure it even took for Bryant to be 21 and come back and play in an NBA Finals series. But for Bryant, it seemed nothing was impossible, and he showed what kind of career he was gonna have when in Game 4 on the Pacers' home floor, Shaq fouled out in overtime. This left Kobe Bryant to lead the Lakers on his own, and as he would many times later in his career, he responded. Shaq picked a hell of a time to foul out though, as the Lakers only led by 1 with a little over 2 minutes to go in that overtime period. In a pivotal game that could have allowed the Pacers to tie the series, LA was in a tough spot. Bryant would go on to score 3 very tough and crucial buckets to keep LA on top, including a tip-in that pushed the lead to 3 with only 5 seconds remaining. Bryant also blocked the shot at the rim in the process. This was a vital moment in the series, and with a hurt ankle and all, Bryant was there to catch LA when they might have fallen to take a 3-1 lead. Now listen, I will never take away from what Shaq did in his time in Los Angeles. He was the most dominant force in the NBA in those times. But performances like these, and the 2 I mentioned before this, is one that makes it ridiculous to say Kobe was carried. Those 2 needed each other. There's a difference between being the best or most important player on a team and carrying somebody. Number 2, don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion. The Lakers were so dominant during their three-peat that it's very easy to forget there were 2 instances that could have easily prevented that three-peat from happening. The one I'm going to talk about should have definitely been on my top 10 comeback list, but I'll make up for that one now. It was Game 7 of the 2000 Western Conference Finals, and the Lakers were on the edge. They hadn't even won their first championship yet, and the Blazers were out to make sure it would never happen. From the time this game opened, the Blazers were all over them, as they decisively won 2 of the quarters. By the 4th quarter, the game seemed out of the Lakers' control, as they were trailing 58-73, and Shaq had only scored 11 points. Yes, the most dominant force in NBA history was being contained. It's a good thing Kobe didn't have any summer vacation plans just yet, as he'd go on to finish the game with 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. He would help the Lakers totally shut down the Blazers in the 4th quarter, as they would only be able to score 13 points. A big point I'm going to mention, because if I didn't, somebody in the comments would, is that some key Blazer players did controversially foul out. Either way, it doesn't change one of the most iconic moments in both Shaq and Kobe's career. With about 40 seconds remaining and the Lakers leading by 4, Kobe put a mean crossover on Scottie Pippen, forcing the defense to cave in. This left Shaq wide open for the one-handed alley-oop, and O'Neal raced down the court pointing, signaling that this one was over, and LA was finally headed to the finals. There's so many great things about this moment. The comeback, the alley, the finals berth. This play has been played over and over again in the last 16 years, and I don't know about y'all, but it always makes me think, what if Kobe and Shaq didn't have their personal issues? Number 1, the sweet taste of revenge. One of Kobe's greatest moments and accomplishments in the playoffs surprisingly doesn't come in the form of an actual play, rather it's a series. As stated earlier in this video, Kobe was fueled with rage by his finals loss in 08, and this is still something he admits to today. He reflects on that finals as one of his missed opportunities to catch or even pass Jordan in rings, but back in 2010, that wasn't what he was worried about. The 08 Boston series was particularly humiliating for a couple of reasons. Bryant admits to feeling outside pressure because of this. He would think about what would be written if they lost to the Celtics the second time. Not only that, but this will come on the heels of them dominating Orlando the year before. So if they beat Orlando and lost to the Celtics, everyone would say his 4th ring only happened because the Celtics were injured. To be honest, this is one of the only times you could say Bryant had at least a piece of his legacy on the line. He wasn't in that position too often, but he definitely was here and made sure to do everything he could to keep that series from slipping. Now, we're not gonna lie here, Kobe never went out and had like a LeBron Game 6 or anything, but his average of 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists more than made up for that. Here's the thing, people get on Bryant for having a poor performance in Game 7, which he certainly had a poor shooting night, but here's the thing that nobody brings up. Just about everybody played like shit in Game 7 of the 2010 finals as far as shooting goes. That game was a slow-paced defensive affair that caused Pierce to shoot 5 of 15, Allen 3 for 14, Gasol was 6 of 16, and Bynum was 1 for 5. I understand Bryant is held to a different standard than everyone else. It was just worth mentioning that virtually nobody had an easy time scoring in this game. Besides, at the end when his team needed him, he was there this time, and he also had a great rebounding night with 15. So what he didn't shoot the ball well, he helped get the job done. The other thing that makes this so great for Kobe is that they were down 3-2 to Boston. The Celtics that year were making a habit out of doing everything people said they couldn't do. They'd beat the Magic, upset the Cavaliers, all as a 4th seed, and it looked like they were ready to take it all the way. Boston made Kobe work for this championship, as he's admitted it was his hardest one to win. As also, people forget he had a fractured index finger, and there was no Shaq to drop the ball into down low. There was Paul Gasol, and he played awesome, but he's no Shaq. In the end, as Kobe raced down to the court, you could see the relief take over his face, as there was nothing easy about holding this Celtics team off for 7 games. It could be argued that beating the Celtics was his greatest accomplishment in his career, because it's one of the few teams he had a realistic chance of losing to in the finals. And so, there you have it. That was 10 of Kobe Bryant's greatest playoff moments. I won't even lie, this was difficult to make because anytime you want to talk about Kobe's greatness, it's hard not to leave something out. He's just done so much. All the clutch shots, the impossible plays, high scoring nights. Kobe has a very decorated body of work that anybody should be able to appreciate. As I said at the beginning of the video, Kobe is a polarizing player, and that makes it difficult to find a definite spot for him in the rankings. People have no problem putting Jordan at number 1, but when you talk about Kobe, people have hated this guy so much that I've seen people say he's barely top 20. The thing is, not everybody's like Steph Curry. He's going to be easy to rank wherever he's at when his career ends because the worst thing he's done is pretty much dance after he shoots, and therefore people just won't hate him as much. But when you dig into Kobe's career, people have a million things ready to nitpick about that could cloud their judgment, and it often does. Regardless of where you rank him, just know that you lived to see one of the best players to ever touch a basketball in any era. Guys with his work ethic and passion don't come around every day. Who's going to be the next player to be so competitive that he even takes a game of arcade basketball seriously? The world may never know. Either way, I'm Dom2K, and I'll see you guys on the next video.